Didn't go to the media until after we had went to every level of management, all the way up to the acting commissioner of Social Security. And at every level we met, because that was the level within Social Security. You see something, you say something, you go to your supervisor. Well, if that doesn't happen, if nothing happens, you go to their supervisor, which is the hearing office director. We did that. Then we started going outside to the region, to that region's, management, and then up to headquarters. And we later find out that basically, well, there was emails, intercommunications sent with, they had staff meetings on how to deal with Sarah Carver. We've gotten rid of Jennifer.
Now we're working on Sarah.
Those emails weren't in discovery, by the way. Those were found some other way.
And the point to all this and this panel of what next is we need a government contract as well as government whistleblower protection. We need an ability like the Office of the Whistleblower with an SEC. You can be a corporate whistleblower, and you now have lots of avenues. Same with False Claims Act. If you're reporting about fraud against the government, there's some good avenues and good case law. But if you're working in the government and you're reporting that outsiders are doing this fraud, Eric Conn is doing the fraud with some help of both incompetence and bribery within the system. But so part of the problem is within the system, within the government. So you're reporting on fraud and misuse and corruption within the government, and you've got no rights and you're viewed as the enemy. So that has got to change. They need legal protections.
Yeah, because, we had managers and that this attorney could not have done this without a pathway, like an open pathway and assistance from within is what we're trying, what we would said. And because they received monetary rewards, promotions, travel, everything that they it was a benefit, because our office, as small as our county is, was like anywhere from number one to number 3 in the nation. And so they were getting this recognition, and they did not want to give that recognition. And then the judges themselves, we later found out, were receiving kickbacks, bribes for every favorable decision that he received. He would end up getting several thousands of dollars.
But during the whole course of this, DOJ treated us very antagonistically. Not only did we not have any proof of the bribes, which seemed to be the point of their focus, they seemed to want to focus on the fact that we could not prove money changed hands, not the fact that what they were doing was wrong. I don't care what kind of attorney you are, you don't have 100% favorable disability rating within Social Security. It just doesn't happen. Nobody's that good. But DOJ treated her probably worse than me, by simple fact of not allowing her to be a whistleblower, but in our key tam lawsuit, I was allowed to proceed. But some of the flaws, aside from the OIG not knowing how to investigate and delaying the whole process, was that the DOJ chose to remain an interested party in our case almost until the criminal indictments were handed down, which was 5 or 6 years. And during that time, no one froze the assets of the named parties. So all of the money that, for example, 1 year, Mr. Conn made $4 million in attorney's fees. And none of those assets were frozen. So he was allowed to retain lawyer after lawyer after lawyer. He was allowed to continue to travel overseas. He was allowed to continue to spend the same way he had before the suspicions arose. And that left little for recovery if we were successful in the key tam lawsuit. And ultimately we were successful. And we won a judgment of $31 million. And that sounds great. But it's not great if you can't get any of it back. And in the end, if he spends it all, there is nothing for anyone else. But I think
But at the very end, they basically went back on their deal because they got upset with us. Long story, but we went into Eric's office and recovered a bunch of claimant files that they said that had been destroyed. And DOJ called our attorneys and said, you need to have them back off. And so that angered them that we made them look bad again, and therefore what money they did recover.
I think it was about $500,000 in the end is what
Yeah,
they recovered.
yeah, they went back on their agreement.
So we had negotiated a settlement agreement of 25% of whatever was recovered in the criminal charges against Mr. Conn. And I think it's okay to say the judges, because they were convicted, ALJ David B. Doherty and ALJ Charlie Paul Andrus. And the money that they recovered equals around $500,000, maybe more, maybe less. But that money was then used to hire an attorney to copy and distribute the claimant files that were left in Mr. Conn's office when he went on the run. Something that the DOJ had already paid for in their settlement agreement with Mr. Conn. So they paid for it twice. All that money was used, so there wasn't anything left to recover. And even though that should have been done by the State Bar Association, the State Bar Association said, we're not touching it.
So then that's whenever we kind of started working on that project with the Big Conn. If you all do get a chance to watch that, usually AppleTV does give you like a 14-day free subscription. We enjoyed really filming that. We learned a lot. I think one of the things though that we were most upset about it though was there was no accountability. They would lead you down that path of who did what, but that you had to make kind of that decision. You know, like, well, why didn't the Social Security do this, or why was Eric Conn allowed to do this?
They didn't make us look guilty.
They didn't make us look guilty at all, but it did not kind of shed light on the actual people that allowed this to happen, and that was the administration and the retaliation. We did touch on some of the retaliation that we faced within the agency, but I mean, it was a nightmare. I mean, I've had my tires slashed, I've had my brake lines cut, I've had windshields cut, gas line cut. It's not been an easy road.
Yes, and well, one aspect of the story is that, remember, Eric Conn got all of his clients through with disability. So they faced some animosity from those that had their disability revoked once this fraud was found. You know, so that's another form of shooting the messenger. This still wasn't correct, but there's animosity from the wrongdoers and then those that benefited from that. But this, we bring this up because we need to keep pushing for issues that are important. You know, I do think our congressmen are constantly looking for how do we pass laws, how do we do things that benefit citizens. I think the National Whistleblower Center is wonderful on being able to help us and instruct us on how we can, as a society, push for laws that help us, and things that will help protect citizens. But one of the things is strengthening whistleblower protections for government employees and government contractors. But I want to leave time to also talk about the arena of startup companies as well as academic research. And then once again, remember there's going to be a function tonight at the National Whistleblower Center, and Sarah and Jennifer are going, Eric is going, I'm going, Babette's going, Cynthia's going, Fred, Tony. There'll be a chance to talk to all of us there. And I once again want to really say a big thank you to National Whistleblower Center for hosting this, because it is our new tribe, and it does feel wonderful, to be able to share experiences, this common experience that we all have. And it's an emotional gift that has no price. It's really priceless, and I appreciate that National Whistleblower Center worked so hard to put this together. And it's lovely to be in the Capitol. I mean, these things mean a vote's going on or something. Yeah. It's still bright, the lights. So it still makes you feel like, wow, we're in the halls of where it happens. So it's important to be in rooms like this. And I want to thank the National Whistleblower Center for all the logistics to make this happen, because I know it's hard to do. So I think we have Erica coming up next, and thank you ladies so much.